Hello there, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us for this APMG webinar where we're talking about the topic of artificial intelligence and project management. So AI, as I'm sure we all know, is having an increasing influence across various aspects of our lives and across many roles and industries. And of course, the world of project management is no exception to that. And the primary purpose of this session is to introduce you to a new certification in the space linked to the AI-driven project management masterclass that many on the call will be familiar with. And we'll be morphing that into a more open and roundtable discussion about the impact of AI in project management and trying to address some of the burning questions around the topic. So to introduce myself and the panel. So my name is Mark Constable. I'll be your host and moderator for the session. And it's a pleasure to be joined by three guest presenters and panelists. So Antonio Nieto-Rodriguez and Ricardo Vargas are global thought leaders in the world of project management, and they're the brains behind the AI-driven project management masterclass and the supporting certification that we'll be talking about today. And joining a bit later on will be Richard Farrow, who's the CEO of APMG International. Richard will be joining Antonio and Ricardo for that open discussion. And as I say, trying to address some of those burning questions around AI and its impact on the field of project management. Just before we get into the main content, a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. So first thing to note is we are recording the session, and everyone that's registered will receive a follow-up email from us soon after the session's taken place, once that recording is available online, so do look out for that. You are all welcome to submit questions at any stage. So using your Zoom control panel, you should see an option where you can type in your questions, and we'll try and get to as many of those as we can during the open discussion. And last but not least, we welcome any feedback. So if when you receive the feedback, the follow-up email once the recording's live, you'll have my email address. So do let us have any feedback on the session, because that really helps us to plan and deliver these types of webinars in the future. So that's a bit about it for me. So I will now hand you over to Antonio first to introduce to a bit more about AI in project management. So Antonio, over to you.
Thank you, Mark, and Ricardo, come up, please. So,
how are you, my friend?
Good to see you, Ricardo. Big day for us here.
Yeah, big day. Yeah, big day. We cannot believe we could make this happen, my friend. Yeah, the past days were just insane to put everything ready for today. So we are super excited on that.
And we want to thank Richard Farrow, Gavin, and Mark, and the whole team for putting a certification in light speed of 2 months, where we almost really took this as a serious step for us to create the first certification in AI and project management.
So yeah, and Antonio, just to build on that, there was a team that is working around the clock in the past 3 to 4 days to get this ready. So I want just to recognize that we cannot, because many of them were engaged in the building the questions and this, so there is a confidentiality agreement, but we want to thank them from our heart for the dedication to put this together, because I know it's that absolutely insane work that they did.
Okay, so the purpose of today is more a celebration and a launch event. It's not going to go too deep into AI and project management. We address that different means that Ricardo and I have this monthly free webinar. We have the masterclass, but we wanted to give you a feeling of what's the Credential about and why we build it. And then Richard Farrow, the CEO of APMG, is going to join us to have a bit of a discussion and then Q&A. So we'll just celebrate together. We wanted to do this as a big achievement. As you know, Ricardo and I, we've been working on AI and project management for what, 1.5 years already. So it's a big step in milestone in our vision on how AI will be integrated in project management.
Absolutely.
So if we can go to the slides, we have a few slides. And thank you already. I see a few questions. So the point is also that you make questions. So I see people very active already, Jefferson, and so you'll get time to address those questions. Let's see if we can slide in the slides.
Can you see my second slide, Antonio?
Not yet.
Are you still on the first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me just take a look.
No, it's yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
You see
Yeah.
now, right? Okay.
Yeah. So that one we can skip.
Okay.
And yeah, before, so that's the name, AI Driven Project Manager certification. You see with our logo with APMG International. That's what you'll get if you pass the exam. This is not an easy exam. We didn't want to give away a badge after following the courses that we provide, but just something that it shows that you've learned, that you know how to integrate AI in projects and use them to become a what we call AI project manager. So this is hopefully what you will all get. And as from what, this is open right now, right, Ricardo?
Yes, I will share the links and more
Okay.
information in a minute from that.
So that's the benefit. So you will be able to read it. I think I'll just highlight a few. Demonstrate your commitment to staying current. I think the world of project management, Ricardo, me, and most of you or all of you recognize the value of certification. APMG International being one of the leading, or if not the leading provider of this. We know that we need to keep active. We need to keep learning. We need to keep showing that we've learned. And this is one of the purpose of our certification, is that show me that you can you understand AI in project management. Today there's nothing, right? There's no certification. Nobody has a certification from the big associations. Nobody, there's a few minor things, but what we wanted to do is something global, recognized, professional, and that's the one of the key benefits, right? And that leads to the differentiation. So if I need to hire somebody where I'm doing some AI projects or introducing AI and big data, I will choose somebody that's certified with this certification, right? Yeah. Between 10 people, if you have one or two who have the certification, it's not the only thing that we look at, but it helps you with the screening and to differentiate you from others. So that was one of the reasons we wanted to put this in place.
Antonio,
Yeah,
I want just to add one. I think one of the key things, if we remember the webinar we did last week, we were discussing that there is a feeling that in the project management sector, we are moving slower than we should, right? And this is not just my opinion or your opinion. We discussed this as a group. And one of the things that is behind the AI-driven project management revolution that Antonio and I are trying to put in place is that we really need to drive the change in the behavior of the project managers to understand that this is something, AI is something that will change. We have a true belief that this will change the way we work and will change very, very fast. And the certification is one of the tools because, Antonio, let's be honest, there is a lot of people talking about AI, but they have no clue of what they are talking about. Correct. Because it just is a trending word and this. So one of the reasons of the certification is I would say, to work on that side.
Exactly. And for me, just the last point, I think one of the drivers that, I don't know, puts the fire on me and Ricardo is in the end, we want to deliver projects better, right? So this is kind of the big dream, big purpose. And we need to do that using AI. We cannot do today without that. So I think this is kind of the driver of the whole revolution that we started a year and a half ago. So that you'll get the recording, you can read the slides. Back to you. I want to spend time with Richard also talking. That's for you, Ricardo.
Okay, so the certification is for project managers, IT project leaders, PMO directors, program and portfolio managers, change managers, a strategy implementation consultant. So all these are part of the public. So it's not specifically to someone on IT sector. So we tried, of course, because AI has some content on IT, but it's basically for all of us. And okay, now go into some practicalities and very quick. So it's a 40-question exam 40 minutes duration, 75% the pass mark. It's a closed book and proctored exam. So we are taking seriously. So it's not 40 questions that you can check whatever you want and do. So we want to take a very professional approach. So it's a closed book. It's a proctor. It means your camera will be on. There will be an invigilator taking care of the exam. And honestly, but I'm not saying the exam is very hard, but the exam we work so hard to really make a bridge between those who really know what we are talking about and those who are trying just to guess what AI is. So this is the intent of the exam. And you have two options of get certified, okay? So what we decided, Antonio and I, it's a lot of people will say, okay, AI is very big, so how we can prepare ourselves? So there is an option and a path that is the prep material and exam, and there is another path that is only the exam. So the prep material and exam. So what happens? You can access to the created material that we produce, Antonio and I, with dozens of videos, curated content. It's a content that we produce, but also a content that we created. So articles, technical documents, and this is updated as the certification updates, because what is our plan is to keep the certification very updated to what is happening. It's an online access. And with that prep material and exam, you also get a voucher to do the exam that you can do in the time you want for the next 12 months. The second option is the exam only. You can access APMG International. I will give you in a minute the links and do the exam, okay? You just select and then you do without the preparation material, okay? And of course, probably all of you will talk about, okay, how much does this cost? So let me be very specific, because I know this is where a lot of people want to analyze. So the prep material and the exam will cost $499 US, and it includes the exam and the material. We are doing a special release price of $399 using the code AIPM until the end of next month. For the next 45 days will be with this discount rate, and this price is already including the exam, okay? For the former masterclass students. So if any of you watching this, so we have a lot of people that register for this webinar, it will have a special price of $299, including the exam, okay? But the masterclass students, the current, the masterclass, we have the list of all the 260 something. Each of you will receive an individual discount voucher for you to use up to the end of October, okay? If you decide to go. This is a benefit for those who already had the masterclass, even when we were not thinking about the certification. You and the exam only, if you want to buy the exam only, you go to APMG International. And the great news, Antonio, it's available now. Now, as we speak, we put this live something like 15 minutes ago, okay? So you can buy and do the exam right now. You can get the prep material and you can do. The only thing you cannot do now is for the former masterclass students, because you need to get the voucher that we'll send to you, okay? But this is for us is the best, because we had to do a lot of work on the background on that, okay? So now, Antonio, back to you, and also to Richard for the Q&A and to share some more information and answer your questions. Back to you, Antonio.
Thank you, Ricardo. So Richard, please join us. Richard Farrow, so somebody that knows project management as well as we do, or even more, and what you've done in this profession. So always a pleasure to have you and your thinking and your challenging thoughts. So the idea is to have like a 15 minutes, 20 minutes free flow discussion, and then we'll see if there's any questions. I see already a few. So Richard, thank you for joining. It really means a lot for us.
It's good to see you, Antonio and Ricardo. It's been a long time. It's good to know you've been keeping busy, though, over at least the last 48 hours. Many, many thanks for your kind words about the team behind the camera, behind the work. Yeah, it does take a lot of people to put these things together, and it's very easy for me to sit here and take the credit, but the credit belongs to all those people that you've been working with over the last few weeks. But talking about the whole AI in project management, I saw a Gartner report recently that said 80% of project management tasks will be done by AI by 2030. So what are those tasks? What will be done by AI? And what's the role of the professional project manager when AI is here? That's my opening question. So I don't know which one of you wants to take it.
Go ahead, Ricardo. I'll point on you.
Yeah, no, I think that we just need to understand that the profession is changing. And when you ask me what are the topics that will be automated by AI, I would say that most of the current planning, reporting tasks, for example, preparing artifacts to projects, doing schedule, resolving resource allocation conflicts, making project budgets, preparing reports, analyzing your portfolio. These will all be, if not 100% done by AI, the vast majority of this work. And this is why we need to reinvent, for example, our work. And this is why, Richard, I say many times, if your work is to prepare a report on a project management office, then your work may be replaced by AI. And this is why you need to move towards, I would say, a more strategic thinking, a more human-related tasks, a more on negotiation, complex problem solving, because these report and these operational tasks will be done by AI very, very soon, if they are not already being done.
But don't we have the same problem? I mean, well, everything I read about AI talks about data quality. It talks about the way you integrate one system with another. How do we trust that data? How do we trust the data that we pull in from wherever we pull it in from, and using it to help us plan, to analyze our risks on our project, to do those sorts of things, Ricardo? How do we know it's quality data that we're drawing on?
Yeah, of course, as we always say, garbage in, garbage out. So if the data is not good, it's very, very hard. But what is happening now with AI is that there is a lot of effort from tech companies to create ways of checking data. And also one thing that is, for me, it's almost amazing, Richard, is that use of synthetic data. AI is becoming able to produce data that did not exist in reality, but that can help you to predict the future. It's really very scary when we talk about that. But this is already happening because just to give you an idea, very large companies on AI producing these large language models are facing challenges because there is no human data available to train the machines. Because all human data, they already took it. Everything that is already public. So this is what is happening. So data is a challenge. AI, I think, will help us to overcome. But one of the biggest challenges on the data, and then I will move to Antonio, is the bias on the data. One of the biggest problems, not only the reliability, but the bias on data. And maybe Antonio, because you take care of this on the masterclass, so you can talk about that.
Yeah, Richard, so building on what Ricardo is saying, I think that's something that we normally don't think about when we're working on our projects or reporting or they chasing for data, and now suddenly we have the issue of the bias, and now how is it being incorporated into the machine learning algorithms. And so I think this is something that we are exploring. We cover in our masterclass. I think bias become more important now than before, because really it bigger impact, and so we just need to be aware of which them we can be facing and how to address them. I think bias are things that we can work on if they tell you this is going to happen. So I think it's a challenge, but it's something that it can be worked. I agree that the bigger problem is having this good data available, and companies are struggling, not just on projects in general, just because data has never been a priority topic since ever, and now suddenly it's big important for sustainability matters, for many other things. So, but like Ricardo say, I think we're seeing AI working on this synthetic data to fill in the gaps.
But do you see a world where organizations will willingly share project data? Where everyone always speaks about lessons learned reports, but lessons learned reports tend to be not very useful for most people. So do you see a world where there will be, I don't know what you call them, data lakes, data sharing, where people will be able to look at previous experience on projects from competitors to enable them to inform what is the right decision for their current project? Because a lot of the projects, in my view, go wrong because they start with the wrong assumptions. They start with thinking it can be faster, quicker, cheaper. But the reality is that it can't be. And so it's that truth in that data. And how do you deal with bias when the machines are generating the data? What does an ethical, unbiased machine look like?
We don't know. I think this is going to evolve. But to your point on sharing the knowledge and lessons learned, I think I always talk about an example which is just amazing, is SAP implementations. We've been doing for almost 30 years SAP implementations, and these projects consistently deliver late and triple budget consistently. And there's been maybe million SAP implementation, but people don't share. They think this time we're going to do different. So I think that's an example of there's things that we need to do better regardless of AI. I think when we talk about sharing data on projects, a good definition that I like about projects is the future of organization. A project is the future. And I think there's a lot of confidentiality in what's the strategy, what projects are we investing. So I don't see competition sharing data on their projects. I would say public sector, yes, why not? The Major Projects Association in the UK, we can do a lot of learning from the massive amount of projects and mega projects they're doing. But within the industry, I would be a bit skeptical for the time being to be able to share a lot of lessons learned. Ricardo, I don't know if you have any.
Yeah, no, I have a couple of comments. I think that the sharing lessons depends on how competitive is your landscape. For example, there is a company in the US called IPA, Independent Project Analysts, and they do benchmark, and they were able to collect a lot of data of projects, capital projects in the mining industry, oil industry. And why? Because these companies operate in a commodity world. So there is a competition, of course they want, but there is a market for everyone, so they share that. It's when you go to a more competitive environment, it's harder for people to be willing to share data. But I have one point to make here. Do we need to be willing to share data, to our data be shared? And why I'm saying this, okay, with the revolution that we are seeing with AI, do we need that you share your reports to know what is happening with your project? I would say if it's a physical project and this. Why? Because AI could make assumptions based on the way you deliver tools on for example, if it's a software tool, on the way you deliver and the pace you deliver, I can predict what you can deliver next. So it's like the concept, Richard, let me go expand. It's like the concept of privacy in an AI world. What is privacy? You know, because maybe you share something on one social media, on one your website, or share on a webinar like this one. And then AI can compile this and say, okay, this is where the trend is. So it's a very smart process. It's like OpenAI getting data from us to use on their large language models. When we post this, who will warranty that this webinar will not be part of an LLM next month?
Yeah.
But Ricardo, earlier on you said that project managers should be working on the interpersonal skills. They'll be focused on negotiation. They'll be focused on communication. What other skills will the future project manager need to know? So people listening to this webinar that are just starting off in a project management career, whatever the role is, whether it's in a support office, whether it's as a project manager, what do you think their key skill set will be in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, for me, is our ability to have system thinking and critical thinking, complex problem solving. It's not basic problem solving, but complex, multi-layered problem solving. And most of this complex problem solving, they are not technical problems. They involve rules, regulation, laws, people, stakeholder interests. So to have a much more broader understanding on what is around, for example, AI projects is not just technology. Maybe technology is a piece of that. There is a massive change in the way people operate. And as project managers, we need to understand that. And this human skills, okay, this more complex reasoning, negotiation, trouble projects, managing crisis, managing politics, managing power. And these, up to now, machines cannot do that well. Maybe in the future, okay, then we may see this also as a challenge, but not today.
So there's a lot of questions, I think, coming in, so we want to get time to hear those. But if I asked you to predict the success rate of projects by about 2035, so once AI has started to be here, you know, what do you think the success rate? Most people think the success rate, depending on what research you look at, is around 30%. Let's assume 30% is the current success rate at the moment. Do you think it will double, 70, 60, 70%? Do you think it will treble to 90%? Genuinely, what do you think the impact of AI will be on the success rate of projects? I think that's a good question for Antonio to start, Ricardo.
Yeah.
It's the 1 billion question, Richard. I think projects fail for many reasons. Some of them are related to the project definition, the project planning, so that's one piece. But then do you have reasons for failure around lack of leadership, poor sponsorship, and that's something that AI will not address. And the other big dimension, the third one, is the organization, the culture, the hierarchy. That's also something that AI will not be addressing in the next year. So I think we can do better on the projects for sure, and the selection, prioritization, estimation, but I don't think we're going to solve all the project success with AI. I think will increase for sure. Maybe we'll get to 50%, 60%, which is already huge, but there's still the human element that Ricardo was talking from the leadership perspective, from the project manager, modern project manager as well, which has to be developed. And that's why this certification, the master class, is building those skills that we don't favor today so much. And I think it's the future for the profession, is those soft skills, critical thinking, so that we can reach more than 60%, 70%. I also think that when projects fail, it's not too bad either. It should not be 70%, but some of them need to fail so that we come back. So a 10% failure rate, I think that's reasonable in every aspect of projects. But yeah, no, great question, Richard. I need to write a post on that. You made me think.
Ricardo, your thought?
No, I think, Antonio, what you just said is perfect. What I think also, it's maybe the success rate will not increase, but the complexity of the projects we are undertaking will increase. What happens with the success rate? If I compare the projects we do today with the projects we used to do 30 years ago, it's different. It's different. It's, for example, if we use the tools we have today to manage the projects and the deadlines we had 30 years ago, probably our success rate would be 100% because the projects were much easier to be done. Imagine the complexity of an IT project 30 years ago with the tools we have today. So what is happening is that we are evolving and getting more and more challenges over time. So probably in 2030, we will talk about people flying or people, a very different set of projects that we never thought about doing them today.
That's very interesting, very interesting. Thank you both. Mark, have we got some questions?
Yeah.
We have lots of questions.
Antonio, and Richard, I am just for you to know, I will not be able to stay too much because people are already asking me. I'm on LinkedIn today, so I need to start recording. But I want just to answer very quick some questions. AI-driven PM versus PMP. There is nothing. PMP is amazing. Okay, Antonio is certified. I'm certified for many years. They do not compete at all. It's a different thing. This is a certification for the use of artificial intelligence in project management. Okay, so they complement everything else. So if you do IPMA, if you do Prince2, if you do PMP, there is nothing related to this, though they do not compete at all. Okay, I just want to make sure that people know that. Okay, Antonio, do you want to take a couple of them?
Yeah, I can, Mark, if that's okay, we can go through the questions ourselves. And just
sure,
it's going to be faster. So Federico, great to see you. You're always there. Thank you, Federico. Yeah. So we're going to launch. There's a pilot. We're going live as we pilot. We're super agile and hybrid. So, but we're going to do a mini pilot as well with a few people. So we'll be reaching out. But yeah, the exam is live now. And
but we already did the alpha pilot. It's already done. Yeah.
Can we get recording? Yes. So the masterclass that we share, we have the monthly webinar that Ricardo and do every Friday, first Friday of the month. That's available in the different channels. Mujib. So yeah, all this it's available if you want to catch up. The masterclass is the other package, the bundling that we offering together with the certification.
Yeah.
Ricardo,
let me take quickly here. Dermot, are there study guides before taking the APMG certification? Yes, there are. This is what I shared here. The option of you getting the prep material. The prep material contains part of the masterclass and part of other things that you can buy, or you can buy the exam directly. Okay, the prep material, what we believe will increase your chances to pass in the exam. Okay, so this is the idea behind. And there is a second question from Ramji about what is the trigger point for you to come up with this curriculum to get a fine-tuned AI strategy. So we created this curriculum on the pmairevolution.com. You see the curriculum for the exam and we decided to create this because we tried to understand a holistic aspect, understanding what machine learning and AI is, how to plan an AI project, some examples of that, some use cases of that. What are the challenges and how the future looks like? So these are the topics that are the umbrella both for the masterclass and this. And one important thing, the masterclass helps you, of course, to pass to the exam, but is not only based on the masterclass content, okay? So you will see that many of the prep material we extract as part of the masterclass, but there are other topics that you need to be aware also to pass on the exam. So take a look on the on the content on our website to see what will be required. And there is another question: is there a sample exam? Yes, on APMG website you can get a sample exam there and download and test for you to understand that. Antonio, back to you.
I'm just checking which one has one. What's the price of the certificate?
Oh, the price, it's already on the screen. Okay, the certification itself is $240, prep material and exam $499, but with the promo code AIPM $399 until the end of October. For the masterclass students, $299, and this includes okay, the exam, and the masterclass students will receive an email with a discount voucher soon. Okay.
And please, anybody that goes through exam, if you share in social media and copy Ricardo and myself, tag us so we can make sure that people are aware of your achievement.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Of course, we want to create value on that. We have a question. Why the exam is supervised? It's proctored. Because we want to make it a credible exam. So we don't want people to try and test the exam 25 times before they pass, you know, and so this is the idea of that, is to bring value to the exam. So it's not something that you just do, you know, between your breaks and pass and get the badge. So this is not the idea behind that, okay?
Then there's a question from Rick. Hi, Rick, good to see you. If I register for the prep material exam, is there a deadline to take the exam? The voucher is valid for 12 months.
Yeah, 1 year.
Don't wait for 11 months and then take it. I think what we recommend is go through the material, do the prep exam to see how you're doing, and then just take the official. We don't, yeah, but it's valid for 12 months sometimes.
Okay, Humberto has a question. What is your experience in applying AI in project management? How long and what projects did you execute? I will talk by myself. I started working with AI in 2012. I published my first paper in 2015. On that, I developed the PMOTO in 2017, and I'm owner of Yera and PMOTO Yera in Estonia, and PMO. So it's basically, I would say, 10 to 12 years, of course, in the past 5 years, much more than it used. And in the past 2 years, even more than that, okay?
And Humberto, I've been maybe 5 years, not in AI, but very focused on all the PPM tools for Coursera. And 3 years ago, I started working on an AI predictor tool, machine learning. So with a professor in Canada, where we, from scratch, how to train a machine learning algorithm from zero to something that can be used now to prioritize thousands of projects. So yes, this is the experience plus the research plus the publication in HBR, a couple of articles and all the masterclass. So we're not programmers, but I think we do understand how AI can work to make better projects. I think that's the key for both of us.
Okay, Joshua, does registering for this webinar provides masterclass discount as well? No, Joshua, well, it does not, but we do, I would say once in a while, some discounts for the masterclass. There is nothing scheduled now for the masterclass, but we'll think on that, okay? Viviane, how can we keep up to date once certified? Okay, when you get certified, you do not need to recertify it. And we, okay, this is one of the things we want to announce. We will announce soon, but we are creating a certified community like we are creating for the masterclass. It's exactly for people keep up to date with their credential, okay? We cannot ask people to recertify every day, okay, as AI evolves. So what is the idea is that once you are certified, you will be part of a group on preparing, I would say, getting updated information on that, okay? So this, Raquel, is the same questions, okay? Will be used in the training some exams, particular AI tool, ChatGPT and others. The answer is no, you do not need. Of course, you need to understand the concept behind what ChatGPT, but will not ask you for a ChatGPT question, okay?
What else? Is the 17 and 18 December masterclass from last year? This is a new cohort. It's an anonymous, so it's our last masterclass of the year, the third one we do this year. So yeah, we have already quite some people registered, so there's no
it's already confirmed. Yeah.
Confirmed. Yeah.
Yeah, Melody, I completed the AI Essential for PM course on LinkedIn. Would I be able to pass the exam? No, Melody, you will not. It will not be enough in our view for that. You need to have other knowledge. Take a look on the program. So it's not related to any specific course designed on LinkedIn or other platform.
Perfect. I think we've covered most of it. I see a
Yes.
lot of repetition. So I would say let's wrap it up here. There's going to be more sessions that we plan for everyone to understand what's behind the exam and the community that we're building, the partnership that we have with APMG International. So I think just to keep it sharp, I would say just the final words, maybe starting with you, Ricardo, as you need to go to recording.
Yeah. So look, first, Richard, thank you very much. So we know each other since the time of the UN. So it's really an honor to have you, Gavin, Mark, supporting us on that. Okay, it would be impossible for us to get this done without your support. So thank you from my heart. Also, I want to thank the team behind that. Okay, it was incredible. We cannot believe we were able to make this happen. Okay, and we are very excited. So Antonio, also thanks for the partnership. And every time we give one step towards this, it's really a rewarding moment for us. Okay, and for those who are attending the PMI Summit, I will be there Thursday and Friday, and I'm looking forward to see you there. Antonio, thank you very much, my friend. Both
Thank you, Ricardo. Take care. Have good recording there.
Okay. So I have to go. Okay, I have to go because I have a recording now. Richard, thank you very much. Gavin, thank you. Mark, and see you all. Okay, I'm leaving now. Bye. Thank you.
Richard, any words before I pass to Mark?
No, I mean, on behalf of everyone listening, many thanks, Ricardo, and you, Antonio, for actually doing the session. It's always interesting to hear about the developments and evolution from people who are actually deep into it, come from a project management background, not a software or AI background, trying to sell into project management. So many thanks for the time you were able to spend today in presenting to everybody.
Thank you.
And I think it's an exciting space. It's interesting to see what's going to happen with it.
I appreciate the partnership, doing new things and creating new credentials. I think that is really valuable for the community. So thank you, Richard, again, and Mark and Gavin, of course. So I just thank everyone for being here, and people will watch the recording. So we have these monthly calls where you are all invited, and we'll get more information, more details, and hopefully you go through this opportunity, which is, I saw one of the comments, really an investment. I think today the way we need to learn is much faster than we were learning 5 years ago. So I think these type of things are investments in our career, in our profession. So that's why we didn't want to price it too high, just that everybody can have that opportunity to keep growing and becoming better in the profession we all love. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. And Mark, back to you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Antonio, and thanks, Richard, and thanks, Ricardo, who's obviously left. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Really interesting session, and as Richard says, it's really evolving, interesting space. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. And just a reminder, really, to look out for the follow-up email, because I know there was a lot of questions. We may have missed a few on some of the logistical side of things, so we'll make sure we cover as much as we can in the follow-up email. So do look out for that. And yeah, that's it. So thank you again for joining, and we'll see you again sometime. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Gavin. Bye, everyone.